episode, we're going to dismantle these tired old tropes, expose the underlying insecurities of those who ask them, and celebrate the immense power and freedom that comes when you truly believe in yourself. When that question of, "Who do you pray to?" was lobbed my way, my answer was simple, direct, and from the heart. I don't need to pray to something that isn't there. Because let's be blunt, prayer is a conversation with an imaginary friend for adults. It's an act of supplication to a non-existent entity, a desperate plea for intervention in a world that operates on natural laws. And it is absolutely, unequivocally not true that I don't believe in anything. In fact, I believe in quite a lot. I believe in the incredible resilience of the human spirit. I believe in the tangible, measurable wonders of the universe discovered through science and curiosity, not ancient texts. And most fundamentally, I have learned to believe in myself. This isn't just some fluffy self-help mantra. It's the bedrock of an authentic, fulfilling life outside the confines of religious dogma. You see, you don't need to look to some mythical divine being to hand you your purpose on a silver platter or to dictate what you should believe and how to live your life. When you embark on the journey of leaving Christianity for a better life, becoming an ex-Christian and atheist, what you're really doing is shedding the weight of ancient myths and embracing a life driven by your own conscious choices and your own developing morals. And let me tell you, these morals are quite often, in my experience, better morals to live by than what you've ever been taught within Christianity. It took me time, as it does for many of us, but I had to learn to believe in myself. So many Christians, tragically, do not believe in themselves. They are taught from birth that they are inherently flawed, sinful, and incapable of goodness without divine intervention. This indoctrination creates a profound lack of self-worth, leading them to seek an outside source, God, to define them, to give them purpose, to validate their very existence. They are convinced they can't do it alone, nor do they often trust their fellow humankind to truly help them navigate life's complexities without a divine intermediary. Then comes the second classic. What's your purpose in life then, if you don't believe in anything? Again, the immediate flawed assumption that my life is an empty, a hollow drumbeat without their God. And again, I repeat, I do believe in something. It's just not the being they believe in. My purpose, my meaning, my drive. These things don't come from an external, supernatural source. I give my own life purpose. I literally give my life purpose by doing this atheist podcast, by teaching others about the profound damages of religion, and by speaking my truth, loudly and without apology. There is no divine being I need to grant my life any purpose. I generate that myself from within. And here's the ironic, often painful truth. Many Christians actually give themselves purpose too, but they're so deeply indoctrinated that they feel compelled to claim God gave it to them. They don't realize the immense power they themselves possess. They assume it's some God doing it for them, pulling the strings. If something good happens or they accomplish something great, they're quick to give God the credit. But if something bad happens or they commit a misstep, then suddenly it's their fault. Or even worse, Satan's, not God's. It's a system designed to strip them of agency and pride in their own achievements. Christians are meticulously taught not to rely on their own understanding, but to seek God in everything, to obey, and, crucially, to fear Him. There's this pervasive, deep-rooted fear of what will happen to them if God sees them going astray in any way, shape, or form. So while Christians loudly proclaim God gives them their purpose and that He loves them unconditionally, they are simultaneously afraid of Him and feel implicitly forced to do the things they've been taught they should do, not necessarily what they generally want to do or what feels ethically right to their own internal compass. This is precisely why the atheist must learn to believe in themselves. Because we don't believe in the supernatural, we don't need to pray to anything or any being out there that isn't actually there to forgive us or beg for whatever it is we want. We accept that since there is no divine being, no prayer is needed. We must take responsibility for whatever is happening in our lives. We accept that this is just the way things are. Bad things and good things happen, and that is simply life. It's a raw, honest, and incredibly liberating perspective. Contrast this with the Christian who, as we've discussed, is taught not to believe in themselves, but in a God. Their self-esteem is often profoundly lacking, as they feel they must have God beside them to give them meaning, purpose, and all the rules for how to live their lives. Lives that must ultimately be in service to Him, obeying Him at all costs. This mindset, unfortunately, often limits the compassion and empathy they have for others, especially those outside their faith, because their primary concerns are elsewhere, focused on pleasing their God and securing their own salvation. They often only do good if they think they can score some nebulous brownie points with their deity. Atheists, on the other hand, can do good simply because it feels good to help someone. We don't believe something is watching our every move, tallying our good deeds for a celestial reward system. We are free to be our true selves, to cultivate our own authentic identities, unburdened by ancient restrictive doctrines. And in doing so, we often develop a far greater empathy for others, seeing them as fellow humans, not potential converts or lost souls. Christians, sadly, are often taught that others outside of their sect are hell-bound unless they are saved, which often translates into coercively forcing their beliefs onto them. Let me be clear. An atheist does not need to be saved. We need saved from your religion. We need saved from you and your relentless, often misguided attempts to save us. We, who are ex-Christians, have already saved ourselves when we left the nonsense behind us and learned to live our own lives. We possess better self-esteem because we know our worth comes from within, not from divine approval. We are, generally, far less hateful toward others, especially when compared to many Christians who look down upon those outside of their belief system. They consider themselves superior because they have Jesus, who supposedly saved them from themselves. But again, we don't need saved from ourselves. We need saved from Christianity. I truly believe that Christianity must become extinct if we are to survive as a human race, truly thrive, and build a more compassionate equitable world. Atheists are fundamentally different from Christians in that we embrace our own individuality and actively seek to find our own purpose in life. We challenge doctrines and think more clearly without the debilitating burden of guilt for thinking for ourselves and for relying on our own instincts. Christians are taught notoriously to ignore their own instincts, to believe that their very human instincts are sinful, that the flesh is sinful. They are taught that without God and without Jesus, they are just filthy rags, a self-deprecating and dehumanizing belief that chips away at their intrinsic value. Most Christians mistakenly think that God is absolutely needed to live a fulfilling life. They imagine our lives must be so dreadfully empty without God. And let me assure you, this could not be further from the truth. We are living lives that most people live, lives rich with experiences, connections, and personal growth. Many atheists have beautiful families, fulfilling careers that they love, and hobbies they deeply enjoy. They do not need God to give them empathy or good morals or purpose. They cultivate these things for themselves from within and from their interaction with the world around them. Our lives are not empty. In fact, many atheists' lives are probably more fulfilling precisely because they are freeing. Free to think for themselves, free to explore, and free to live the lives they generally want to live, without the constant oppressive fear that every thought or action is being judged by something that isn't even truly there. The final, most tiresome accusation, often delivered with a smug, self-righteous smirk. Without belief in God, then you are free to go on murdering and raping and committing all sorts of criminal acts. No, my dear friends, we aren't. And if you Christians who say this truly believe that the only thing keeping you from becoming a homicidal maniac or a serial rapist is the fear of your God, then I am profoundly glad you are Christian. Because you, my friends, are indeed the problem. That's a truly terrifying admission if you think about it. We live by the laws within our society, laws that are established by humans for the betterment of human coexistence. Our morality doesn't come from a divine commandment within a millennia ago. It comes from our shared human experience. It comes from knowing that if someone killed one of our friends or raped us, then that would be bad, profoundly bad, because we would feel violated, heartbroken, and deeply harmed. By simple, rational extension, we should not do those things to others. We learned our morality by living within a society of people through empathy, reason, and an understanding of consequences. In fact, morality was around long before the first God was ever thought up, yet woven into the fabric of early human communities. And speaking of the Christian God, let's not forget that their sacred texts often portray a deity who is, by modern standards, a homicidal maniac, not exactly worthy of worship and love. Let's not conveniently overlook the fact that there are many Christians in prisons. The majority of the incarcerated population in the U.S. identifies as Christian. As Marie Curie, who was an agnostic, once said, "The greatest evil in the world is not sin, but ignorance." Going on, and in case you've forgotten, many clergy, pastors, and other religious leaders have been found guilty of horrific crimes, especially of committing heinous sexual acts, violating the rights of others, all while claiming divine authority. Whether you believe in God or you don't, people will commit horrible acts if they feel strongly enough to commit them, if their personal psychology leads them down that path, or if they are in positions of power that allow them to abuse others without consequence. Being Christian does not inherently make you a good person or a bad person. Rather, it's within you whether you are a good or a bad person. Some Christians are good, others are bad. Some atheists are good, others are bad. There's a vast variety of factors: upbringing, socioeconomics, psychological predispositions, life experiences that play into why someone might be considered good or bad. It's not a divine membership card. So to my fellow atheists, to the ex-Christians still navigating the waters of deconstruction, and to anyone out there questioning the narratives they've been fed, your life is not empty. It's profoundly full. It's freeing. It's caring. It's waiting for you to define its purpose, to craft its morals, and to experience genuine empathy for your fellow humans, unburdened by ancient dogma and fear-based dictates. You have the power within you to create a life of immense meaning and joy, a life that is truly yours. You don't need saving from yourself. You've already saved yourself the moment you chose reason over superstition, self-belief over blind obedience. And now let's go on to the frequently asked questions and my answers to each. Question number 1. Do atheists have morals? If so, where do they come from? My answer is absolutely. Atheists' morals are primarily derived from empathy, human reason, societal norms, and the understanding of consequences. We recognize that actions causing harm to others or ourselves are bad because we would not want those actions perpetrated against us. Morality is a fundamental aspect of human cooperation that predates organized religion and is observed globally, regardless of religious belief. Question number 2. If you don't believe in God, what gives your life purpose or meaning? My answer is that atheists create their own purpose and meaning in life. This can come from a wide array of sources: personal relationships, pursuing passions and hobbies, contributing to society, learning, experiencing the natural world, or advocating for causes they believe in, like I do with this podcast. The purpose is self-generated and often more deeply fulfilling because it is chosen, not divinely assigned. Question number 3. How do atheists cope with death or suffering without the belief in an afterlife or divine comfort? My answer is that atheists cope with death and suffering by acknowledging the reality of life's finite nature and focusing on the present moment and the tangible support of loved ones. While there's no belief in an afterlife, there's a strong emphasis on making the most of the life we have, cherishing memories and finding comfort in human connection, community, and the beauty of existence itself. We accept that bad things happen as a natural part of life and focus on resilience and finding practical solutions or emotional support. And I ask you all to embrace your individuality. Trust your instincts. Live freely, ethically, and purposefully. If you've left the church, you've already done the hardest part. You've recognized the damages of religion and taken that monumental step towards a better life. Now, continue to build that life on your own terms. I want to hear from you in the comments below. How do you respond when Christians hit you with these questions? What's your favorite way to explain that your life is full and purposeful without God? Or if you're still in the process of deconstructing, what are the biggest challenges you face when confronted with these kinds of assumptions? Let's keep this conversation going and support each other in our journey towards a more rational and compassionate world. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more content on living authentically outside of religious belief. This is Kim McPhail of the Kim McPhail Podcast. I look forward to the next time we talk. See you later. Thanks for watching, and bye.